Welcome to the Enlightened Misfits podcast, the space for entrepreneurs on a quest for unwavering certainty and purpose. I'm your host, Lauren, and each episode is a compass guiding you through authentic conversations, unraveling the mysteries of your human design chart, and offering tools from the remarkable guest. Join me as we embark on a journey to manifest greatness and create a life aligned with our deepest purpose. This is the space where misfits find their enlightenment. Welcome to the Enlightened Misfits podcast. Welcome back to the Enlightened Misfits podcast. I'm your host, Lauren, and in today's episode, I have an amazing guest, Lynn. She is an entrepreneurial results expert. Welcome, Lynn. So happy to have you on the podcast this morning. So Lynn has been helping business leaders achieve their goals for over 30 years. And she helps entrepreneurs create their best results with less effort, which is amazing. All of us entrepreneurs would love to know all your secrets. So can you share a little bit about the 3 keys for entrepreneurs to turn overwhelm and stress into limitless profit?
Yeah, the most important key is the first key, and that is your vision. You have to know where you're going. As the saying goes, the people will perish without a vision. So you have to have a vision. And the most important question to ask with respect to your vision is, what would I love? Not what does the economy say? What does my education say? What do my family and friends say? What would I love? And when you come from that place, you create a vision that is in alignment with everything that you have come here to be. So ask yourself, what would I love? And let whatever comes to you come to you, because if you can dream it, you can achieve it. So that's the first key, is your vision. The second key is your habits. And your thoughts create your habits, which is really the underlying paradigm, or your thought habits. And those are what allows you to either take action or not take action. And when you realize that before the age of 7, your mind is in 2 parts, your conscious mind and your subconscious. Your conscious mind is the thinking mind, the mind that says yes or no. Your subconscious is emotional and has to accept everything that's put in it. So before the age of 7, everything went right into the subconscious without a filter. And that's where our self-image and our paradigms get created. So think about all of the voices you hear in your head when you go to do something new. Your subconscious's sole responsibility is to keep you safe. Yet when you try something new, it has no idea whether it's going to be successful, whether it's going to harm you or be good for you. So it sends up the warning, whoa, 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 danger, danger, Will Robinson. And you very often don't take that action. So you want to reframe those thoughts to support where you want to go. And then after that, the next most important thing is to take action to support those new thoughts that support your vision. So it's a 3-step process.
Yes. Now, do you do this with your clients? Like, do you help them? Like, do you walk them through this? Like when you first start with them, like, is this kind of like how your system is, or you kind of just meet them where they're at?
Yeah, the first thing I do is have them create their vision before we even get on the coaching call. They create their vision, and then I help them what you call tune it, to calibrate it. Because your vision, you want to be speaking as if it's already happened. I'm so happy and grateful now that, and put it in the present tense. And that way you can step into being that person. I like to say, be it until you see it. A lot of people say, fake it until you make it. But fake it is still telling your subconscious that you're faking it. Whereas if you say, be it until you see it, you can step into that beingness and shift those paradigms and take action from that beingness.
Yes. Yeah. I wholeheartedly resonate with that. I actually just had a situation with my boyfriend last week. He's taking this test for this, he's going to be working on the railroad. And he was like, I'm just going to try my best. And I'm like, stop saying try. Say it as you already have it. because obviously if you desire it, you already have it in a higher timeline. Already have it, So I love that you say that, because I think a lot of us, even I still do it. I'm like, I'm just going to try my best here, or, and it's like, no, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm doing it. And then it's like, oh, the universe or whoever that, you believe in, the higher power, is like, oh, she's serious. But like your subconscious is like, oh, wait, we have to do this now.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. And that's
Yeah.
one of the things I always stop my clients on when they say try. It's like, and I quote Yoda, there is no try, do or do not.
Yes. Yeah. You either do it or you're not doing it. Like, it's no in
Exactly.
between. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you said that. So what would you say, like working with your clients or even for like yourself, like what motivated you, or what has motivated you to explore the connection between the overwhelm, the stress and the profitability for entrepreneurs?
Well, I love brain science. Um, I have a bachelor's in psychology and a master's in computer science. My master's project is in AI before ChatGPT,
Yeah.
where you get the computer to think like a human. My favorite class as an undergraduate was physiological psychology, which is brain science. I just love the way the brain works and the way the mind allows us to either take action or not take action. So this has been, well, I don't want to say exactly how many years, a lot of years. I've really been interested in brain science and how the mind works. And it just naturally flowed as I became an entrepreneur and experienced some of those things like imposter syndrome. I think everybody experiences that. And it doesn't mean you can't do something. It doesn't mean you're an imposter. It just means you care enough to do it. And to what I help people do is to shift those syndromes into being in a place where you can take that empowered action.
Yes, I love that. And I love that you talk about imposter syndrome, because I feel like every point in my like journey of my own entrepreneurial journey that I felt like a fraud. Like, how can I call myself an expert? I know all of this information, but it's like, how do I call myself an expert? Like, I'm an intuitive human design expert. I know human design, like, I self-taught myself, and people have called me. They're like, you know so much about it. Like, you just know so much. And I'm like, I know, but then I'm just like, why did I feel like I couldn't call myself an expert? And again, it goes back to, what was I telling myself? Am I telling myself I'm a fraud? Am I telling myself, the whole world knows, but the average person really doesn't know that, they look at it like, oh yeah, you know a lot. You know a lot. I don't even know what you're saying half the time, but I believe you. So I love that you said that about imposter syndrome, because I feel like each time that we learn something, it doesn't ever go away. Would you agree?
Exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that again is just your subconscious trying to keep you safe.
Yeah.
Because if you say, I'm an imposter, and you don't go and do that new thing, then your subconscious is fat, dumb, and happy. Your subconscious would rather have you be miserable than change.
Yeah.
So and that's another thing I tell my clients, whenever you hear that voice of doubt, that's a good sign. That means you're moving forward. That means you're taking action. If you were just sitting on the couch, binge watching Netflix, your subconscious would be fat, dumb, and happy and silent. So the fact that you're hearing those voices is a good sign.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Because there's sometimes when I say, well, I can just do it this way, or we don't have to do it that way, and it's like, no, I don't. It's like my heart is like, no, this is what we're doing. So I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing. So can you briefly describe, or maybe like outline for the listeners, like three different like key strategies that entrepreneurs or you or your clients can use to turn that stress or overwhelm into profit?
Yeah, the first thing is I developed this AIR method, AIRR, that helps you breathe new life into your vision and actually helps you switch those paradigms to support where you want to go. The first step is awareness. You have to notice those thoughts, notice the thoughts that are keeping you from taking action. Then the second one, I, is interrupt. You want to have a strong, powerful interrupt, like up until now, or I used to. And then you want to release it. The first R is release it. You want to picture it floating away. And then the second R is replace. Because once you create that void by letting it go, the nature abhors a void. So you want to fill it with what you want. So you want to replace it with a thought that supports you where you want to go. For example, I used to feel overwhelmed with all I had to do. And now I'm taking action every day in support of my business. And then again, you take action from that new replacement paradigm thought. From that place, you take inspired action. So it's just noticing and replacing, reframing, and taking action.
Perfect. I was going to say, if you're listening to the audio of this or even the video, make sure you pause it, write them down, and make sure you implement them, because they're three very key helpful tips that Lynn has gave us. So make sure you write them down and implement them. So the next three, we're going to talk about the 3 keys to work less and earn more. So can you how did you come up with identifying these 3 keys of these critical elements when achieving success while working less?
Well, it was a number of mentors that I had that helped me create a vision. And then I did notice that after I created that vision, those voices started to happen. And once I was able to reframe those with the AIR method, I noticed that nothing really changed if I didn't do something about it. So it was just a gradual process as I went through and was learning from different people and just taking the action myself, and then watching my clients do the same thing. So it's just a process of learning, tweaking, and just going through just what we do every day in our life. You look at things, does it work? If it doesn't work, what can I do to make it better? And it's all based on our thoughts. What thoughts can I have? Because if you look at it, your thoughts create your feelings create your actions create your results, which just reinforces thoughts, feelings, and actions. And it just turns into a vicious cycle. Yet if we look at our results and say, are these the results I want? If yes, keep going. If not, what thoughts created that? Change your thoughts, it changes your feelings, changes your actions, changes your results. And then you go from that vicious cycle to a victorious cycle.
Yes. Yeah. That's similar to how when I'm in coaching sessions with my clients, that's kind of like when they tell me I can't do this. And I'm like, okay, so wait a second. we gotta take this back a little bit. And when you were saying the thoughts and feelings, because a couple years ago when I would feel certain things, I wasn't even aware of. It's that level of awareness that I was actually telling myself I hated myself. I'm a failure. All of the things that society might have told me, or my, past partners or relationships or parents might have said to me, but not really said that they hate me. It was just a way that I felt when that happened. Same thing with when you feel somebody lies to you. It's like that. It's a lie. That's like surface, right? That's like the leaves of the tree. And then the root is maybe betrayal, or if it's shame or guilt or something like that. And I feel like when I learn that for myself and teach that to others, it makes sense of why I don't feel like I hate myself. It's more of what is deeper than that. And it's the thought pattern, like you said, it's like keeps going and going and going. But once you change that, cycle of, if you start to think negative of oh God, I can't do this, or this is overwhelming, and you stop it, it doesn't keep repeating. So I love that. I love that the strategy that you use with that.
Yeah. And then another thing to remember is, I'm assuming that most of your audience knows about the law of attraction. You attract what you affirm.
Mm-hmm.
That is really the secondary, the law. The primary law is the law of vibration.
Yes.
And that's where your thoughts become feelings. And based on those feelings, you take actions and get those results. So if we look at David Hawkins came up with these levels of consciousness. Mm-hmm. And at the low levels, we have fear, and we have all of those lower ones. But at the upper levels, we have joy, love, peace.
Yeah.
So if you're in those lower levels, then that's what you're attracting. And the law of vibration reinforces the law of attraction and makes it happen faster. So think about being at those lower levels. Like you said, I hate myself. Then you attract more to support that. If
Right.
you can shift those, move into those higher vibrations of love and peace, then that's what you attract. And staying in that vibration creates the attraction faster and the results faster.
Yes, I love that you just said that too, because I love the levels of consciousness too, because when I tell people it's like that the lower levels is like the 3D, it's a victim mentality, it's insecurity, it's like our wounding, it's like the theme of wounding, it's genetic trauma, it's all of that stuff. And I just, when I was looking at the diagram the other probably a couple of weeks ago from a client, she said, how do I get really quickly from fear to like 4D or 5D? And I'm like, you either have to pick an emotion in 4D, which would be wound of it could be acceptance, it could be you could just understand. And I was like, how about if you just understood your fear really quickly, just understood, how can I understand this? Maybe you won't know the answer. But then I said, try it. And, she's like, where did you get this information from? I was like, I don't know. I just came up with it. You asked me the question, so I came up with it. I don't know where. I'm sure I read it somewhere. I didn't create this, but, I'm sure I read it somewhere. And it's what I do with myself. Because if as soon as I feel fear, or if it's like a shame wound coming up, or if it's something coming up, I ask myself, how can I understand it in this moment? And normally it's, oh, it's an insecurity. You did this before and your body is just remembering it, or your subconscious is like, wait, we've been here before. We're not going through this again. So I know it's protecting me. So I don't go down that same path. So I
Yeah.
do that.
My go-to is gratitude.
Yeah. Or gratitude, love,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, be
Yeah.
grateful and really feel the gratitude, because it's the feeling
Yes.
of the gratitude that lifts you out of those lower level vibrations. So that's what I tell my clients all the time is gratitude. Find at least one thing to be grateful for. I mean,
Yes.
even if it's just that maybe you didn't even get out of bed, you just opened your eyes. Be grateful.
Yeah.
I do gratitude before I even get out of bed. As soon as I open my eyes, and the last thing I do before I go to sleep is find things to be
Yeah.
grateful. And you want to be grateful in all things, not just grateful for.
Yes. Yeah. There's sometimes that I forget who did this practice, but it's like when you can't fall asleep at night because your mind's constantly going, maybe there's something that you're going through that's hard, that if you just start at the top of your head. I think it was actually on the podcast in season 1, but she said, literally start with, thank you for the hair on my head. Thank you for my eyes. Thank you for my skin. Like just very surface level stuff. And eventually your mind will stop and I was like, that's interesting. I wonder if that will work. And I literally try it sometimes when my mind, here with entrepreneurs, we have all these ideas and it's like, oh, I have to do this. Oh, I forgot to do this. Oh, I need to go do that. Like, and it's like, I don't know about you, but I know it's for me. Yeah. So yeah, gratitude, is, I didn't realize how much it helps you heal when, when I was going through my, nasty custody and nasty, divorce battle. I had to come to terms with, how can I be grateful for what, my ex-husband, and like really feel that, for like my daughter and stuff. And it really gave me that level of forgiveness, that I could forgive myself for allowing myself to go through that and stop putting that hate and that anger and all that stuff, which people look at me sometimes when they don't understand the exercise of gratitude, right? Or forgiveness, that they think it's for the other person. And I always say, no, 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 no. Forgiveness is not about them. It is 100% about you. So you can release that. And I think one of my mentors, when she first told me that, I was like, you're crazy. I am never doing that. Like that will never happen. So she said, just try it this week. So I did. And then I was like, wow, this actually works. Like I feel lighter. Like I don't feel like I'm carrying all this extra weight. So if you're listening to this and obviously somebody needs to hear this, make sure that you forgive yourself for whatever situation you are in, and make sure that you practice gratitude. I love that.
Yeah. And then also compassion, self-compassion. That's another big one is A Course in Miracles says that everything is either an act of love or a call for love, no matter how unskilled. And it's the no matter how unskilled part that has helped me forgive myself and show compassion for myself and others. So if somebody says something that you don't like, instead of seeing it as an attack, what if they're just unskilled and they're either asking for love or expressing love in an unskilled manner? And that just changes everything. You can see anybody in a different light in that compassion when
Yeah.
you think of it in those terms.
Yes. And I love that you say that because I feel like that is a message for me this last couple weeks because I found myself judging myself a lot. And I thought to myself, what does it mean? So if I were to judge somebody else, that would be about me, right? So then I was like, so why do I continue to judge myself? And it's just like, oh, maybe I am not giving myself compassion, like you said. So when you had said that, I always give so much love and compassion out, but I realized probably I'm going through the shamanic journey. So it's a very interesting, very, very interesting journey. And I realized that, wow, this probably, I don't want to lump it together, but 35 years of my life, I gave out so much love and compassion and empathy that I was not giving it back to myself. So when you said self compassion, I actually switched my mindset on if somebody's rude to me or somebody is, being passive aggressive or they'll tell me to do something or they'll say to do something or whatever the case is, but they don't do it themselves. I'm just like, oh, just bless their heart. Because they're not even aware that they're doing that, like projecting that. Right. So I used to take it very personally, before, but now I'm just like, I know that has nothing to do with me. And I would always try to help them. Well, why do you feel that way? Or, like whatever, so they they're not even aware. And sometimes they'll say, I'm sorry, I wasn't even aware of how I was acting. So I love that you say to look at it from that way because I feel like it truly has helped me this last couple weeks because that could really put a damper on your relationships or between family or just to be able to understand everybody, people don't talk about what they're going through, right?
Hmm.
If it's passing by or if you're just kind to a stranger, that could make their whole day, because they could have just lost somebody or whatever. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and another thing that I like to do is you just smile at people and say
Yeah.
hi and be kind.
Yeah.
Especially, I like it. And one of the things I do now is I say, I appreciate you.
Yes.
And like even in a restaurant, when a restaurant is really busy and you're not getting the service you think you need, I always notice that. I always tell the waitress that or waiter that, wow, it's really busy. You have a lot going on. And it's almost like they take this breath and all of this weight is lifted off of their shoulders. Just that recognition
Yes.
that a lot is going on, then they allow themselves to recognize it and accept it, and things shift for them immediately.
Yes. Yeah. I always love I love that too. Recently I just started, well, my boyfriend's family owns a concession stand and it's in New Jersey and it's very popular. It's very busy. So it can get stressful at times, but the families and the kids are so nice. They understand that, these fries are like to die for and they understand how busy it gets. And there's one or two of those like where's my order kind of thing, but they see that we're really busy and the appreciation for these young kids and just these parents, it blows my mind that I'm just like, wow, like because you hear, oh, this work, everybody's just so miserable, all this, you hear all the negative stuff, but it's just like actually seeing it, and maybe it's because I give that to them, like, thank you for waiting. I appreciate, all that stuff. They will give it back, even if it's, not given, from us. It's truly amazing, like you said, how, people just are starting to be more kind and just appreciate like life now. I feel like, especially because the world is already crazy enough right now. We don't need to add any more stress to anybody's life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So,
it's just that recognition and then making that tiny shift to gratitude and appreciation. It change and people can feel it in your body. They can feel that vibrational shift that you're projecting onto and out into the world.
oh yes, yes. And I always say to myself, I don't think people realize how much they project, especially if they're going through something or I can feel it, and people are like, oh, well, you're just intuitive or you're just, and I'm like, no, every single person in this entire universe is intuitive. Every single person. You might mask it with addiction or drinking or drugs or something like that, but you feel it. It's why you put something on top of it to not feel it. So I'm like, that's not true. I don't believe it to be true. So I always try to, if somebody feels off, I always just try to make them laugh. Or if they don't want to be bothered, I will just leave them alone. So it's like I can read the room. And sometimes, like public speaking, and I know that you public speak. So it's like public speaking, I memorize my whole speech. And one of I spoke last August. I didn't even say that speech because I read the room and I don't even know what I said. It was just like I have the ability to speak from my sacral and just speak what I needed people to hear. So when I got off stage, I had some doubt. Or I'm like, gosh, what I practiced for so long and I memorized it. And it's just like that didn't come out. Maybe the first couple sentences and then the last couple sentences, but like everything in between, it was whatever 10 minutes, TED Talk speech I had to do. It was truly amazing. I don't know if you've had that same experience, but I was like, wow, I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, in fact, I say that to my clients all the time. If they're talking and they say something, I say, this just came to me. And when things come to me,
Yeah.
I say something. If it makes sense to you, fine. If it doesn't make sense to you, fine.
Yeah.
And I just whatever comes to me, I say it, and they get to choose whether they accept it or not.
Right. Yeah. Yep. I just say, I'm like, if you needed to hear that. If you didn't, that's okay. Don't take it. Like, just leave it. Right. So, the last tip that I wanted you to share with everybody, or key element would be, the way to more money and less stress. So, what inspired you in maybe to dive into like a relationship between financial abundance and stress reduction?
Well, it's just personal experience and experience of my clients. If you think about when you're feeling doubt and worry and you have your goals, the analogy that I came up with is when you have doubt, it's like throwing your goals upstream and you're fighting the current of your limiting beliefs to get there. Whereas if you are able to take action in the face of doubt, it's like throwing your goals downstream and then you just naturally flow to it. So when you're allowing the doubt to stop you, it's taking longer, it's creating more stress, you're not getting things done, it's taking more time, it's taking more money. And when you allow yourself to go with the flow, so to speak, the flow downriver, then it happens faster, it happens easier, and it happens much in a much better way. Just like my client Gina was able to double her income in going through the process of having her vision, paying attention to her habits. She used to be a people pleaser. So she
Mhm.
created a vision of the people she wanted to work with, and that allowed her to notice her thoughts around things. And she learned how to say yes to the right people and no to the wrong people. She increased her what she charged because she knew she was worth it. And it just made it easier and faster for her to double her income.
Yes. Yeah. And what you said about worth it, I know a lot of people because the coaching space can be really loud. But they said, oh, charge what you're worth. And I 100% do not resonate with that at all because I, I know what my worth is. And no, I'm not going to be charging $1 million, but it's just because I've worked on my self confidence for so long that I know what my worth is. And people, I'm like, so that doesn't balance out. Like that's not going to get me anywhere in
Mhm.
that. So I just think that when you say you can up your prices, I think you have to start maybe doing free stuff and then doing, charge a little bit, charge a little bit, and charge a little bit, and keep going. You can't go from zero. I see people go from zero to like, I'm going to charge $5,000. And I'm like, what? You have to gain your authority. Like, when, who told you this? Who's giving you this information? But I mean, I just understand through my own past experiences that, as a people pleaser, recovery people pleaser too, I wish I could just give everything for free, because I honestly want to help, everybody I can. Obviously I have to live on earth, so it's like I can't do that. I have bills, I have to, so it's like that balancing that, balance is probably not the right word, but I feel like, making sure I have boundaries around, or like boundaries around what I'm going to, is this creating more stress on me, like you said, or is this kind of helping me flow, or like helping other people flow? So I love this stream
And
analogy.
I prefer the word harmony as opposed to boundaries.
Yes, that's
Or
what I was going to say. I
balancing,
don't, I,
balancing, because
yeah,
we're always ever balancing, but
yeah,
what we really
yeah.
want is we want harmony.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't really like the word. I stopped using the word balance because what does that even mean?
Mhm.
Harmony. Yes, it's like
Yeah.
more of like making it kind of go together versus,
Yeah.
you know,
Kind of like the yin and the yang. It all goes
yes,
together and
yes,
flows between each other.
yes, yeah, yeah, that is, yep, that's perfect. That's 100% what I was trying to say. Thank you. Um, so just a last few thoughts on, potentially if somebody's listening to this, obviously we'll have all your links in the description box so they can reach out to you. But what role do you think that personal development plays in the journey towards more money and less stress?
It's pivotal. I've taken classes from Darren Hardy. He was the editor of Success Magazine. And he said, if you want to double your income, triple what you spend on personal development. Because again, it is all, your limits are here. And
Right.
you can either take action even in that doubt, or you can let that doubt stop you.
Yes. And I love that you say that, because I had a client a couple days ago that, her partner is not as supportive as, he has a 9 to 5 stable job, and not as supportive as she's an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is very high risk. You have to have that. I'm going to spend $5,000. I'm going to make 10,000, or I'm going to spend 5,000. I'm going to make 20,000. But you don't make that right away. Right. So it's like, you have to have that, like you said, it's her personal growth that she needs to pay for. And it's like, if that person's not an entrepreneur, I'm like, he's not going to understand. So it's like trying to, work with other strategies of like how she can put more into her, mindset, personal growth to get to, it's like, you can't not put nothing, or you're not going to get anything. It's like output. So
Mhm.
I love that you say that, because that definitely has been coming up for me too sometimes, and also a lot of my clients, when you have to put more. So I love that you said that, because you have to put more into your mindset, because it's all up in our heads.
Yeah, I think even people that have a 9 to 5 job, if they invest in personal development, their 9 to 5 job is going to be more fun.
Right, that's true. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's very true. Yeah. um so is there any last thoughts, or maybe some advice that you could give the listeners before we wrap up?
Yeah, just the key is to have a vision, pay attention to your thoughts, and then take action. And when you're paying attention, the best thing to do is to notice without judgment. Because once you get into that judgment phase, you go back into those lower vibrations, you spiral down. We're always either spiraling up or spiraling down. And even our DNA is a spiral. So just notice without judgment where you are, and then take action, shift those paradigms so that you start spiraling up. And if you notice that you're going back down, just notice without judgment and just stay in those positive vibrations and take action from being the person in your vision who you are becoming. So you want to take action from that beingness of your vision.
Yes, no judgment and beingness. I love that. So thank you so much for joining us on today's episode with Lynn on the Enlightened Misfits podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe. You can leave a review and then share with anybody that you feel that will gain knowledge from listening. All of her links to connect with her will be in the description box here on YouTube, or if you're listening to the audio, it'll be under the audio links. So stay tuned for more captivating conversations in the future. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week, and I will see you next time. Thank you for joining us on another enlightening episode on the Enlightened Misfits podcast. If you resonate with this conversation and found it insightful, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. Your feedback fuels our mission. Remember, your journey to unwavering certainty and purpose is ongoing. Stay connected with us on social media and let's continue this conversation. Let's manifest greatness in our lives. Until next time, this is Lauren from the Enlightened Misfits podcast. Stay enlightened, stay inspired, and keep manifesting your extraordinary path.